Music.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this first game of Season 14, Bout 2 for Mad Rollin Dolls home season. Today we are going to be seeing the Unholy Rollers taking on the Quad Squad. And we'll jump over to the house mic here for the skater intros by Zing Crosby and Assassinate.
At 3-1-4, Gertrude Awakening. 6-17, Ginger Snap. 77-34, Hell Woods. 8-47, Hello Sailor. 7-3-9, Goldman Smacks. 703, the Kel Fire Warrior. At 12:31 in a rookie season, the Rue Barbarian. 38, Off Me Rocker. Number 3, One Hit Wanda. At 64, Pegasus. 4-28, Polyavarice. Number 9, Shenanigans. At 22, Tango del Muerte. And at 218, Toast. On the bench, we have Scarlet Osneria, Dive Hard, Splatter Alice, and the Micro Mauler.
One more time for the Unholy Rollers, everyone. Now, skating against them is a team that looks familiar, but they just seem slightly more sinister now. In green, the Quad Squad. Number OI, Murderface. Number 48, Sharknado Alley. Number 101, Quilla DeVille. Number 111, Electrokill Disturbance. Number 120, Poison Dart. Number 15, McDagger. Number 18, Crocodipolis. Number 215, Professor Booty. Number 25, Jaws. What? Number 273, Ice Pick. Number 52, the Bedazzler. Number 5388, Upset. Number 7, Kill Switch. Number 796, Conan the Mean Librarian. Shh. Number 8, Chick, Boom. Number 9, the Trickster. Number 906, Anita Donut. Number 918, Seraphire. And number 97, the Smiler. Quad Squad is bench coached by Knuckle Sandwich, Black Metal, Friction, and Stevie Kicks. And missing today, because she's in the UK for the Roller Derby World Cup, Spam. She's over there now, right now. She's doing what we're doing right now. She's talking into the microphone and stuff. She's doing probably a better job. Anyways, the Quad Squad.
All right, so thank you all for joining us. I am Rich Mahogany.
And I am Seasons Beatings.
So as we were saying, we will be seeing the contest between the Unholy Rollers and the Quad Squad taking place here. Both of these teams played their first games of the season a few weeks ago, back in January, both taking a very narrow loss to the teams that they played against. Quad Squad falling to the Reservoir Dolls and the Unholy Rollers falling to the Vaudeville Vixens. So we've got a bit of both of these teams are looking for a win here, for their first win.
Yes.
One of them's going to get it.
Well, we'll see which one it is.
Yeah, we will.
It should be an exciting bout.
We can see here that getting our skaters up on the line, we're going to see Shenanigans wearing the star for the Unholy Rollers in the red. She will be jamming against Upset for the Quad Squads in the green. So for those of you who may not be as familiar with the way roller derby is played, you can see there we just called out those jammers. You see this, they have the stars on their helmets. They are the ones who are eligible to score points. You see they're going to fight through the opposing skaters. And there we go. Upset has broken through the rest of the skaters, called the pack first. This means that she is now the lead jammer. As she has exited the pack, she is now eligible to begin scoring points on this pass. So every opposing skater that her hips pass will get her a single point. So you can see Shenanigans here just now getting by the defense of the Quad Squad. So she is now eligible to score points as well. What makes the lead jammer, what Upset currently is for the Quad Squad special, is she can call off the jam at any time.
That's right. She has that power to do so, which is actually an advantage when you're the lead jammer.
Yep, so we see here that both skaters through the pack. Upset has gotten a grand slam that is 5 points, so 1 point for passing 4 blockers, and 1 point for passing the jammer.
All right, and she has just called off that jam, so we'll have to wait and see how many points she accumulated total. Looks like 7, and then so Unholy Rollers did not pick up a single point on that jam.
The Quad Squad did a great job of keeping the pack fast and then getting their defense in there to hold back Shenanigans, prevent her from getting those points, and then had Upset calling off the jam before she was able to pick any points up. We're going to get down into this next jam. See the Trickster jamming for the Quad Squad in the green.
And Ginger Snap looks like the jammer for Unholy Rollers, and Ginger Snap is the lead jammer for this jam. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, but Quad Squad, they're the reigning champions from last year. Is that right?
That is correct. They had I believe, a 4-1 run last season, only falling to the Vaudeville Vixens, but then holding on to their championship. They had won the championship the year before, so looking for the three-peat this year.
That's all right. Well, they got to win this one tonight.
All
right, so it looks like Unholy Rollers on that last jam was able to pick up 2 points, but they held the Quad Squad, so now it is 7-2 Quad Squad.
We'll get another quick lineup here. We'll see Tango de Muerte wearing the star for the Unholy Rollers. She'll be going against Chick Chick Boom for the Quad Squad.
All right, and let's see how this action plays out. Ooh.
Nice use of using the inside line, wide open, kept by her blockers. So Tango de Muerte picks up lead jam for the Unholy Rollers. Got Chick Chick Boom also out of the pack, looking to threaten to score some points.
Yeah, and they're, again, like you had mentioned earlier on the first jam, moving pretty quickly with this pack. All right, and so Tango just called off the jam. Let's see how many points she picked up.
Well, she picked up all 4 there for all 4 blockers, so good jam for the Unholy. Just brings it to a 1-point game in Jam 3.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting, is anything can happen in a jam.
Yeah, this action each jam can only last up to 2 minutes long, but as long as you're lead jammer, you can end that jam. So it is advantageous to you to call off the jam before the opposing jammer can pick up any points, which is the kind of play that we've seen so far in this game.
That does seem to be the trend so far.
So getting into this next jam, One Hit Wanda jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Seraphire for the Quad Squad. One Hit Wanda gets through to take lead jam for the Unholies.
All right, and looks like Seraphire has also broken through, and so she is not the lead jammer, but she is trying to catch up to One Hit Wanda.
That's right. Both of these jammers are eligible to score points. One Hit Wanda is going to push her way as far into the pack as she can, get as many points as possible, calls off the jam. That's going to be 3 points for her, once again holding the Quad Squad scoreless. And with that, the Unholy Rollers take the lead, 9-7.
And that was a very quick change in about 4 jams. Actually, that was 3. This is the 4th jam, I believe.
Yeah, we are moving along quite quickly here. Both of these teams they're playing safe derby. They're not going to say like, oh, I've got lead, I'm going to just go and get all the points, because then your opponent will also get all the points. It's really, you have that advantage for as long as your team is able to hold back the opposing jammer. Getting back into the action on the track, Shenanigans out to take lead jam for the Unholy Rollers, going up against Upset for the Quad Squad.
And it looks like Upset is still trying to break through the pack. And here we have Shenanigans coming up to the pack as well. So we'll see how many points she can get if she gets through this pass. Ooh, and Shenanigans broke through, called off the jam. Let's see how many points she picked up. That's a pretty impressive play by the Unholy Rollers in the last couple of jams.
Yeah, very smart defensive plays here. That is going to be another 4 points up for the Unholy Rollers. They're doing a great job of keeping back the opposing jammer just long enough to have their jammer get lead and then get at least a pass under their belt before needing to call back the jam. Because the Quad Squad jammers are still doing a great job of getting through that defense. But it's just the fact that the Unholies are getting out first and getting that first blood.
Well, and speaking of getting out first, right off the bat, Ginger Snap broke through the line. She is your lead jammer in this jam, and she went up against the Trickster from the Quad Squad.
Yeah, Trickster again, like this, we're seeing some very similarly played jams here. So these teams matched quite well, clearly are familiar with how the other plays. So we're just seeing, again, one of those quick hit it and quit it jams. So 4 points up for the Unholy Rollers, 0 for the Quad Squad.
Which brings me, so out of the last, we're now on 7 jams, and Quad Squad has not had a lead jammer since the first one. So that's Unholy Rollers really doing good defense.
Yeah, their defense is looking fantastic out there. We're going to see Chick Chick Boom jamming for the Quad Squad up against Tango Tu Muerte for the Unholy Rollers. The Quad Squad taking up a defensive position at the front of the pack, and they're going to get Chick Chick Boom through. That is the second lead jam for the Quad Squad this game. Tango Tu Muerte is still stuck in the pack there, dealing with all 4 of the blockers for the Quad Squad. I'm sorry, as I say that, Crocodopoulos breaks off to bridge, because there's the pack is defined as the largest group of skaters of both teams, and you need to be within 20 feet of that pack in order to engage the opposing jammer or any other blockers. So if you get too far out, if the pack gets spread out too thin, nobody can hit anybody, and that's no fun for anyone but the jammers. The jammers love that.
Well, and speaking of it, while you were describing it, they actually had, or almost had, a no-pack situation because the players were so far scattered that, yeah.
Yep, so you need to be within 10 feet of the other players in order to be considered part of the pack. So that's why you'll see skaters start to break off and bridge, kind of standing on that line between, to bridge out, having 10 feet between the packs to make it so their blockers can engage a little bit longer. Eventually, though, you're going to run out of blockers to bridge with, and you're going to have to let that jammer go. So some great play here, but that Quad Squad picks up 6 points in that last jam, bringing the score to Quad Squad 13, Unholy Rollers 17.
That's correct. And there haven't been any penalties yet.
Well, actually, just at the end of that jam, it looks like Chick Chick Boom, the jammer for the Quad Squad, picked up a forearm penalty. So she is going to start in the box here. So anytime you get any sort of penalty, you're going to spend 30 seconds in the penalty box. And so in the case of a jammer, then we say that the team that has the jammer on the track is getting a power jam. So One Hit Wanda, the only jammer on the track, takes lead jam for the Unholy Rollers, now gets through the pack, picking up 5 points. You get points for the blockers or any skater that's in the penalty box. So with the Quad Squad jammer in the box, One Hit Wanda picking up all 5 points. But Chick Chick Boom is now released from the penalty box and back in the action.
That is correct. And honestly, One Hit Wanda, with that power play, picked up a lot of points for the Unholy Rollers. Looks like they picked up 9 on that jam, bringing their total up to 26. And the Quad Squad picked up 0, clearly probably because Chick Chick Boom was in the penalty box for a good chunk of it. They're still at 13.
Yeah, so when you do end when you end a jam in the penalty box, you will need to stay there and start the next jam from the penalty box. So that can, as a jammer especially, that can get exhausting, because if you're really going hard trying to get through that pack and then you have to skate another jam immediately.
And it is possible to foul out in roller derby.
That's right. If you get 7 penalties, that 7th penalty will send you packing. No more playing for you. So far things are looking good for penalties. No more than 1 penalty across the board. We'll see how things progress as this game goes on. Getting back down to the action on the track, Shenanigans jamming out as lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers up against the Sapphire for Quad Squad.
And Shenanigans, like you had said, has lead jammer status. Looks like she's hitting the wall a little bit with the Quad Squad defense, trying to break through. And equally, Sapphire, I don't even know if she has yet broken from the pack. I think she is still trying to break through those Unholy Rollers. Yeah. And their excellent defense tonight.
Yeah, she was almost through on the inside, but then taken a hit by the Rhubarbarian there, knocking her to the inside. And if you're knocked to the outside of the track, whether that be the infield or the outfield, you need to re-enter behind the skater that hit you out, unless that skater also went out of bounds. Then it's free game to hop back in. But so that's why you'll see a skater getting knocked out and then having to skate backwards.
That is correct. And if they do not skate backward and cut in or go back ahead of the person that knocked them out, they are going to get a cut track penalty.
Yep, and giving up just a few seconds on that track to back up and come in behind the skater that knocked you out is much better than spending 30 seconds off the track completely.
And so at some point during that jam, we saw Sapphire give the basically she switched jammers. They switched over, but the Bedazzler picked up the jammer status. Basically, it's the panty. Mm-hmm. And so she was the one that finished out that jam. It looks like, though, they didn't pick up any points. And so now your score is Unholy Rollers 35 and Quad Squad 13.
So lining up for this jam upset, where's the star for the Quad Squad? Jinja Snap wearing it for the Unholy Rollers. And as you were saying, you see other skaters there who have the helmet covers that have the star and the stripe. The stripe designates the pivot, and the pivot is able to receive the star from the jammer. So if the jammer removes her helmet cover and passes it to the pivot can put that helmet cover on and become the active jammer and start scoring points. But in this jam here, we've got upset through. She was the lead jammer for the Quad Squad, but she just picks up a penalty, sending her to the penalty box. So now Jinja Snap and the Unholy Rollers have a power jam. And when you go to the penalty box as lead jammer, you lose your lead jammer status. So now the jam cannot be called off. It will go for the full 2 minutes.
And so that actually is a great advantage for Unholy Rollers. Again, this being the second time the Quad Squad has had a lead jammer at that, in the penalty box. So we'll see how many points they're able to pick up while she sits out her 30-second penalty.
Quad Squad also lost their pivot to the penalty box, Jaws. So with a jammer and a pivot in the box, the Quad Squad had a significantly diminished pack strength. Upset now back on the track. So both jammers are through scoring points.
And Upset, to her credit, is playing that is a little upset. She is just tearing up the track, and she is going through those Unholy Rollers defense almost as if they're not even there.
Yeah.
She is running into a little bit of difficulty. Hello Sailor actually stopped her for a little bit, but as you saw, she was able to break through the pack.
Yeah, Upset, a very strong jammer, actually skates on the charter team for Madison, the Dairyland Dolls, as a jammer. And the Dairyland Dolls will actually be heading down to Texas to compete in Clover Cup at the end of March. So I'd recommend checking that out on MadisonRollerDerby.org. You can follow all things Madison Roller Derby. We would like to take a moment here and cut to a commercial. So thank you all for joining the Mad Rollin' Dolls. And we are back. Thank you. We are back at the Mad Rollin' Dolls Season 14 Bout 2 game between the Unholy Rollers and the Quad Squad. Unholy Rollers in red currently leading 40 points to 26. And we have a moment here for an official timeout. So that does give us a moment here to thank some of our sponsors here. So sponsors like 105.5 Triple M. They are the sound of Madison.
And of course, we wouldn't be able to broadcast to you live without the help of Hinckley Productions. Game coverage brought to you by Hinckley Productions, leading the way in live HD video streaming and professional commercial video production. They have been supporting your Mad Rollin Doll community since 2008.
Hinckley, an amazing group. We are very fortunate to have them here doing all things audio-visual. And as you said, they are bringing you this broadcast. So whether you are watching it at home on TV, or if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks to you for joining us, and thanks for Hinckley for putting together this broadcast.
Absolutely.
So we are still in the midst of our official timeout. Officials just making sure all of their I's are dotted, T's are crossed, scores are all in place. Nobody should be in the penalty box that isn't. Penalty box is currently empty. Taking a look at penalties, we only have one penalty for any skater that does have a penalty. We're seeing 5 penalties on the side of the Unholy Rollers, and 5 on the side of the Quad Squad. So everything kind of even out as far as the penalties are concerned. But 14 points separating these teams.
With a little less than 17 minutes to play in this first half. And so it looks like they're ready to play again, Rich, and we're going to go see who's on the jam line.
Well, looks like we've got the Trickster wearing the star for the Quad Squad in green. She's going against Tango de Muerte for the Unholy Rollers in red.
All right, and Tango de Muerte trying to break through those Quad Squad's defense, but it looks as though the Trickster is your lead jammer.
Yep, so as you said, Trickster out there to get that lead jam. She is now threatening to score some points. Is going to get, barely knocked to the outside, or I'm sorry, the inside by Gertrude Awakening.
And it looks like Unholy Rollers doing their best to try and stop her from getting through the pack and picking up those points. And we do have a penalty. The pivot on the Quad Squad was sent to the penalty box, and that also concludes the jam.
All right, so Ice Pick will be starting this next jam in the penalty box for the Quad Squad. She will also be sitting in the box with Polly Avarice. So both teams down a blocker going into this next jam. We did get confirmation, by the way, that that official timeout was indeed to make sure that all of the penalties were accurately distributed. Nobody had missed a penalty they shouldn't have gotten, or didn't get, rather.
Well, there's nothing worse than getting penalized for something you didn't do.
True that. But getting one-hit Wanda takes the jammer star for Unholy Rollers, finds a wide open lane on the inside, runs up, takes lead jam for Unholy Rollers, going up against Chick Chick Boom for the Quad Squad. Chick Chick Boom still trying to fight her way out of the pack, knocked to the inside by Toast.
That's right. She's been getting knocked around quite a bit and keeps having to run back to get behind the Quad Squad.
Yeah, the Unholy Rollers are just having such an active offense and defense out there. It seems like wherever you turn, you see red. And that is not going to be fun for the bad squad here.
No, definitely not. And I would, it's obviously going to be tiring after a while. And Unholy Rollers, they're jumping out to quite a lead. They picked up 7 points on that last jam, which brings their total to 51. Quad Squad at 29. They were held pointless again, scoreless, in that last jam.
I'm going to see if they can get a change of fortune here as the Trickster wears the star for the Quad Squad, going up against Shenanigans. Shenanigans pressing that pack out. You can see now pushing against the kill switch, Crocodopoulos, and number 48, that is Sharknado Alley. So they were able to successfully knock her to the outside, force her to recycle all the way back to the pack.
Yep, and she is still trying to get through the pack. They're really picking up their D, and they are definitely preventing her from breaking through.
Yeah, Pivot the Bedazzler for the Quad Squad goes to the penalty box. Shenanigans through now. She is declared the lead jammer.
Oh no, and it looks like Chick Chick Boom, as you mentioned, sent to the penalty box. So that means another power play by the Unholy Rollers.
Yeah, that was a track cut penalty assessed on her somewhere between turns 3 and 4.
All right, and it looks like we had kill switch knocking Shenanigans out of bounds, and that actually ends the jam for us. 5 points Unholy Rollers were able to pick up, bringing their total to 56. Quad Squad again picked up no points in that last bout, or that last jam, sorry.
Okay, so that was definitely a bit of a chaotic jam. You could see like we saw both the Bedazzler and Chick Chick Boom for the Quad Squad head to the penalty box right at the end of that jam. We've got Golden and Smacks for the Unholy Rollers also in the penalty box. And now a team timeout has been called for by the Quad Squad. Luckily a good choice here as the momentum's kind of starting to slip away from them here. It's important to bring things back together, say like, okay, we're behind, but what's the game plan? Where are we going from here? Okay. So we would like to thank you for joining us here with the Mad Rollin Dolls. We'll be right back. And we are back here at the contest between the Quad Squad and the Unholy Rollers. We're in half one. Clock is stopped at 13 minutes and 2 seconds. We are in the midst of a team timeout for the Quad Squad. You can see here that the Unholy Rollers are leading with 56, Quad Squad at 29. Number of skaters currently in the box. We've got Chick Chick Boom, Jammer for the Quad Squad, the Pivot for the Quad Squad, the Bedazzler, both starting this jam from the box. So we will see Quilla DeVille, Poison Dart, and Kill Switch as the lone skaters on the track. Although I only see Quilla DeVille and Poison Dart, I am not seeing Kill Switch. Our lineups may be lying to us, Season.
A little bit. So if that's the case, then boy, the Quad Squad, they got their hands full. Those two blockers have to keep Ginger Snap from getting through the pack, which she is now the lead jammer. However, the Pivot just came in for the Quad Squad, so they now have, no, there was another penalty just called. I spoke too soon.
Yeah, a little bit of penalty roulette happening for the Quad Squad there.
And it looks like they're just trying to get their bearings again. So we saw the Bedazzler coming in from the penalty box, and then she is the Pivot. So I guess I'm trying to figure out who is the jammer right now for the Quad Squad.
Well, it looks like Chick Chick Boom has the Jammer Star helmet cover in her hand. She's gonna put it back on. All right, so then the jam will end. So that's looks like a grand slam ending for the Unholy Rollers. So good jamming there for Ginger Snap, bringing the Unholy Rollers score up to 61. Quad Squad 29. And that will end all of the penalty box confusion, as now both teams are at full strength.
It does get a little confusing when you have multiple penalties. So what I was thinking is on that last jam, the person who, like you had mentioned, it looks like they were going to attempt to give the Pivot the star to become the lead jammer, but I don't think that ever matriculated into anything. She ended up keeping it. So
yeah, and just because, and like sometimes just stashing that star can be a good technique. Just kind of creates that confusion. Certainly confused us. Like, oh,
yes.
Where's the jammer? Who's making points? I don't know who to block.
Yes, it worked against us, that's for sure.
So we've got both of these jammers out. Tango de Muerte, lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers, just barely in front of the Seraphire.
Oh, Seraphire is hot on her skates, Rich. And it looks like she called off that jam.
Yep. So
did she manage to get past two of the block?
It looks like she got 1 point.
All right then.
Yep. So I see the 1 point up there being designated by our jam ref. So a quick jam there for the Unholy Rollers.
And again, like you'd mentioned before, playing it defensively and playing it safe. So they managed to get 1 point and then called off the jam, but still 1 point. I mean, that's better than no points.
Yeah. Definitely some smart derby being played here.
All right, so on this jam line, we have One Hit Wanda for the Unholy Rollers going against Upset with the Quad Squad. And Upset is your lead jammer, barreling her way through the pack, while One Hit Wanda is still trying to get through. And it looks like the Bedazzler ran her back, so of course she has to backtrack and then come back up to the line.
In the meantime, Upset round the pack for a grand slam. So that'll be 5 points up for the Quad Squad. As that happens now, One Hit Wanda is out of the pack, looking to threaten to score some points. Upset's not going to let that happen, though. She's well aware of where that jammer is, going to turn around and call off that jam. Looks like 0 points on that last pass. So score will be 0-5 in favor of the Quad Squad.
And maybe that timeout they took just a little bit ago was the momentum changer that they needed.
Yeah, it was definitely an awkward jam to go into, like right out of that timeout, seeing as they started with only the 2 blockers. But they definitely now seem to be finding their feet under them and really figuring out how to deal with these unholy walls.
Absolutely. So on the line for this jam, we have Shenanigans with the Unholy Rollers going up against the Trickster. And boy, they're moving pretty quickly. Shenanigans fighting her way through the quad squad pack, not having much success. Likewise with the Trickster, we just barely got to the 3rd turn, and then we see Shenanigans was able to break through and get the lead jammer status. Meanwhile, Trickster still trying to get through those Unholy Rollers line of defense.
Yeah, great job here by Gertrude Awakening, Off Me Rocker, Hellfire Warrior, and Hello Sailor, just really putting a damper on the Trickster's day. She does get through. That'll complete her initial pass. She is now eligible to score points. Shenanigans working through the pack, trying to score, but she's going to get knocked around, calls off the jam. We'll see a grand total of 4 points up for the Unholy Rollers.
All right, and so after that, we have a score of 66 for the Rollers, 34 for the Quad Squad.
You've got an instant replay here. You can see the moment when Shenanigans ran up the inside, got a little bit of help there, having a hard time seeing her number. But I believe that was Hellfire Warrior making that inside lane for Shenanigans on the inside. Getting into this next jam, we've got Ice Pick jamming for Quad Squad up against Ginger Snap for the Unholy Rollers. Ginger Snap out for a quick lead jam Unholies.
And going back, what we had saw in the instant replay, again, of course, it is possible to assist your jammer in roller derby. And as you probably saw in that replay, Shenanigans got a great assist from her teammate before she called off that jam. Likewise, Ginger Snap just called off the jam, and let's see how many points they picked up. 3 total, holding the Quad Squad again to 0. So that little bit of momentum the Quad Squad had feels like it stalled a little bit, but let's see if they can get back on their feet again.
And thank you all for joining us here with the Mad Rollin' Dolls. This is Mad Rollin' Dolls Roller Derby. All right, and we are back for the last few minutes of the first half of the Quad Squad taking on the Unholy Rollers. Score, Quad Squad 34, Unholy Rollers 69. 7 minutes remain on the clock. We're going to see Tango de Muerte wearing the star for the Unholy Rollers in red up against the Seraphire for the Quad Squad in green.
That's right. We have Hello Sailor of the Unholy Rollers doing her best to keep Seraphire. Looks like Hello Sailor just got a penalty. Seraphire trying to break her way into the pack. We have no lead jammer yet, I believe.
Hello Sailor picking up an out-of-play penalty. So that was either skating out of play or hitting out of play. But in either way, she was playing in a way she should not have. So she now has 30 seconds to sit in the penalty box and think about what she's done. We have a lead jam going to the Quad Squad and Seraphire. Seraphire are just weaving around number, I believe that was 428. Yes, that was Polly Avarice. She's barely dodging the hit there. She does get through.
And so in the meantime, we saw the pivot for the Quad Squad going into the penalty box just as Hello Sailor was exiting it. So now we have the Unholy Rollers at full strength. Quad Squad short their pivot. And we have Seraphire making her way through the pack, picking up additional points for the Quad Squad. They are up to 10 points already in this jam.
It's exactly the kind of jam that the Quad Squad needs. Need to start closing up that score gap. This is certainly not an insurmountable gap, but you'd really like to be at least a little closer going into the half. And they've got a few jams to do that. Great jam for the Quad Squad. Grand total of 14 points, holding the Unholy Rollers scoreless. So that's going to bring the score to Quad Squad 48, Unholy Rollers 69, with 5 minutes and 25 seconds remaining to play.
Yes, and it looks like they're trying to pick up a little bit of momentum, as you'd mentioned, going into half, trying to close that gap in the score a little bit, definitely give them a little bit more of a better feeling after they come back out after halftime.
I'd like to do a quick shout out to Pabst Blue Ribbon for sponsoring the Mad Rollin' Dolls, so PBR yourself ASAP. What'll you have? Pabst Blue Ribbon.
All right, and so as we go into this next jam, we have One Hit Wanda for the Unholy Rollers going up against Upset. And One Hit Wanda is the lead jammer. It looks like Upset is still trying to work her way through the pack as We have One Hit Wanda coming back around and trying to also get through the pack, pick up some points. Let's see how they do.
Upset now through the pack on her initial pass, but One Hit Wanda also through on her first scoring pass. Is going to call off that jam after picking up 4 points. Got another shout out here for our sponsor, Ian's Pizza. Ian's Pizza has 2 downtown locations, 100 State Street next to the Capitol and 319 North Francis near the Kohl Center. Both locations are open late. Order online at www.ianspizza.com. Downtown delivery is available.
All right, we have a little less than 5 minutes to play in this half, and we have a very quick skating Shenanigans jumping out immediately to lead skater status, followed by the Trickster from the Quad Squad. Shenanigans rounding the curve. She's coming up to the pack. That pack is moving pretty fast. They are keeping things flowing.
Yeah, Quad Squad doing a good job of coming together at the front of the pack, getting ready to receive Shenanigans. But the one hit, the Unholy Rollers defense getting up into the wall at the last minute. So Shenanigans does get through for 3 points before calling off the jam. Does hold this Quad Squad scoreless.
All right, and just before we go into half, we'll do another shout out to WORT Wart. Tune into WORT 89.9 FM community radio for great underground music and talk. Go to wartfm.org. That is WORTFM.org to listen live or on demand.
Getting back down to the action on the track. Jinja Snap has the star for the Unholy Rollers in red, up against Ice Pick for the Quad Squad in green.
And it looks like Chick Chick Boom is definitely holding Jinja Snap back. Running, and then also we had the Bedazzler running her back. So Jinja Snap still trying to work her way through the pack, running into some issues with the Quad Squad as they continue to prevent her from going through. And we do have a penalty with the Unholy Rollers as well. And it looks like Jinja is still trying to break through. We do not have a lead jammer at this point.
Well, and as you say that, she gets through and gets declared the lead jammer. So Jinja Snap now with the lead. Taking a look for Ice Pick. She is just now getting through the pack on her initial pass.
And we do see another penalty too for the Quad Squad. It looks like their pivot, the Bedazzler, is going to be sitting out for 30 seconds. And Jinja Snap is working her way through the pack. Now Unholy Roller at full strength. And let's see how this unwinds.
All right, so a track cut being assessed against jammer for the Quad Squad, Ice Pick. That'll put a damper on their getting back some of these points. That'll be a power jam for Jinja Snap.
Which conveniently, we saw their pivot, the Bedazzler, coming out of the penalty box just at that point. And there was a really good example on the track just now of how the pack was so separated that there was almost a no pack called. And so, of course, Jinja had to go through, picking up additional points.
So you see going into this this next pass, you had the Unholy Rollers defense lining up on the outside of the track, getting ready to play a little bit of offense for their jammer. So they ran in there and tried to break up the wall. But like the Quad Squad wall held really well. They only let up 3 points on that attempt. So 17 points for the Unholy Rollers, 2 for the Quad Squad. That will bring us to 1 minute to the half. You can see here a list of our top scoring jammers so far. Jinja Snap with 36, and then Upset and Shenanigans tied for second with 25.
And it definitely does seem as though the Quad Squad, their penalty is kind of a disadvantage for them a little bit in this first half.
Yeah, well, definitely seeing a few more penalties over on the Quad Squad side of things right now. We'll go over those a little bit at the half. Got Tango de Muerte out to take lead jam for the Unholy Rollers. Ice Pick, she has been released from the penalty box. A star pass has been completed over to Upset, the pivot for the Quad Squad. So once she's through the pack, so we can see up at the front here, those Unholy Roller blockers are well aware of who she is. Upset trying to dance up on her toe stops to stay in bounds, not quite able to do it. So in the meantime, Tango de Muerte will be through in a grand slam.
That's right, and as time is winding down here, we have almost under a minute to play. And so in this jam, they'll be picking up, they've already picked up 5 points, Unholy Rollers. But boy, the quad squad really trying to do really good defense to prevent them from picking up more. And it looks like Heller Sailor is skating her way to the penalty box.
So we'll see if this jam is, if it goes the full 2 minutes, then Hello Sailor will be able to get out of the penalty box before the half ends. We'll see Upset is back on the track, through the track, has completed her initial pass, now eligible to score points. The jam will be called. 5 points in the sky for that last pass. I believe that grand total will be 10 for the Unholy Rollers. That'll bring them over the century mark. Now over the quad squad by 53 points going into the half.
Well, and we'll see what halftime brings for both teams.
That's such a slick move there. Just the leaping turn for Shenanigans to get by number 7 there for the quad squad kill switch to cinch that call off. What wonderful show of athleticism.
Definitely, and as we were talking before this bout started, obviously both teams are, looking for their first win, and Unholy just seems a little bit more hungrier than the quad squad based on the first half.
Yeah, they're really bringing it today, so we're going to see what these teams bring to the table in half 2. Thank you very much for joining Mad Rollin' Dolls. We'll be back shortly. I'm Rich Mahogany.
And I'm Seasons Beatings.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. We are here with the Mad Rollin' Dolls Season 14 Bout 2. We are seeing the game between the Quad Squad and the Unholy Rollers. I am Rich Mahogany.
And I am Seasons Beatings.
Thank you all very much for joining us. So as I said, we're getting into half 2 here. Unholy Rollers currently leading. They've got 103 points for the Quad Squad's 50.
Yes, and I think what we saw in the first half was a lot of resilience with Unholy Rollers' defense. Pretty unallowing for the Quad Squad. I mean, just to hold them to 50 points. We'll have to see what this half brings.
They've certainly been doing a great job at adapting to whatever the quad squad's doing. The quad squad seems to be getting like a jam or two where it's like, okay, they're like, oh, they got a lead there. But then the Unholies are just like, oh, no, I've got that now. That trick's gone. We've got that covered. What else you got?
Right, exactly. That does seem to be the way it has been going. A little bit unpunishing on the Unholy Rollers as well.
Yeah, and so like the Unholy, like they've been drawing a number of penalties from the quad squad. So if we take a look at some of the penalty stuff, so for the quad squad, we've got the high penalty accruing skater over there is Quilla DeVille with 4 penalties. We've got, but everybody else is looking at like 2 or 3. So like Bedazzler has 3, Chick Chick Boom with 3, but nobody else is really in any dire penalty trouble. Jumping over to the Unholy Rollers side of things, things are looking much, much cleaner. Nobody has more than 2. And only 3 of their skaters have 2. And checking my math here, I believe that is 4.
4, yep.
4 of them.
Skaters,
4 of them only have the 1. So Unholy is not only playing a very strong game, but a very clean game. Yes. And I feel like it's a lot of the penalties that the quad squad are getting aren't necessarily because they're playing sloppy. The Unholies are baiting them into some of these penalties. So like we've got a multiplayer block that was on Quilla DeVille. I can't remember who was jamming, but they just like she was there, she was braced, she was ready, and they just went right into that seam. Arms didn't drop. Multiplayer block.
Yep. No, I definitely agree with you. If that was their game plan, it is working so far. And so we will have to see what both teams bring in the second half of this bout and what their game plan looks like going into it.
That's right. So we do have 47 points separating these two teams at the half, but 30 whole minutes for this contest to play out. No idea what was discussed in the locker rooms. This all could be according to the quad squad's plan to lull them into a false sense of security. Like, we're doing really great. Look at our penalties. We're looking so good. They're getting penalties. We're winning. It's great. And who knows? Maybe we'll see a completely different quad squad out there this half.
It's definitely possible. You never know what's going to happen half to half. And you, like I've mentioned before, possibly you never know what's going to happen jam to jam. Every jam is different. So it should be another exciting half of roller derby tonight.
Very much looking forward to it. We've got our score information here. So our high scorer on the Unholy Rollers is Ginger Snap with 36. High scorer for the Quad Squad, Upset with 25. Shenanigans with 25 on the Unholy Rollers side as well.
That's right. And one hit Wanda for the Unholy Rollers, pretty close behind. She's got 23. So you've got some pretty high scores on the Unholy Rollers.
Yeah, that score is being spread out quite nicely amongst the Unholy Jammers, where we see a few more of a high score concentration for the Quad Squad. Speaking of upset, jamming for the Quad Squad out to take lead jam for this first half of Jam 2, or half 2. Shenanigans jamming for the Unholy Rollers in red.
Oh my goodness. And we just saw Upset just blow past the pack. She picked up all of the points called off that jam and held the Unholy Rollers to 0 points in that jam.
Now it's a strong start for the Quad Squad. They're going to want to keep running with that momentum, hold on to it, and hopefully for their sakes, they've kind of going to be turning the tides here.
That'd be nice to see. I'd like to see them definitely step it up a little bit, be a little bit more, you know. I love close bouts.
Everybody like it.
Yeah, those nail biters at the end. All right, so on this jam we have Ginger Snap for the Unholy Rollers. She is up against the Trickster with the Quad Squad. Oh my goodness, the Quad Squad has the Trickster lead jammer status. That will be twice in a row, and they are just, I don't know what happened at halftime, but holy cow, it looks like the Quad Squad is out for vengeance.
Yeah, the Trickster just really putting on the gas as she approaches the pack. I heard a whistle. That was a penalty on the Trickster. Oh no. So that will send her off to the box. That was a back block penalty. So she came in a little hot to that pack. So things go on the other foot. Now we have a power jam for I'm sorry. Ginger Snap had gone to the penalty box too. She picked up a track cut. So both jammers picking up, Oh, wow. Okay, so backing up. So Ginger Snap got a track cut. Immediately after, the Trickster got a back block. We don't want both jammers in the box at once because that is silly. Jammerless jams are no fun. So the first jammer is released as soon as the second jammer sits down. The second jammer only has to serve the amount of time the first jammer spent. So in this case, both jammers out quite quickly. Unfortunately, though, the Trickster picked up another track cut penalty immediately after leaving the box.
Sent back to the box. And also, I believe Ginger, she was sent back too. I am not entirely sure what that penalty was for, but now we see where she is back. Both of them are back out on the track.
Yes, we now that the whole crazy jammer situation has been explained, we have returned to normalcy. We have two jammers. It looks like pivot for the Quad Squad. The Bedazzler's in the box. Blocker for the Quad Squad. Cool. DeVille is also in the box. So Unholy's at a strong position here. But the two Quad Squad blockers up at the front are doing a great job of holding Ginger Snap back.
Exactly. And just before this jam ended, the two Quad Squad blockers came out of the penalty box. So that was a pretty high-scoring jam, actually. 12 points for Unholy Rollers, 11 for Quad Squad.
Yeah, a bit of a score wash, but like a really little confusing, but a way fun jam.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun one.
I'd like to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Laura Realty Group. Dolls kick ass off the track. Laura Realty Group is ready to jam for you in all your real estate needs. Laura Realty Group, located at 2229 Atwood Avenue, or online at laurarealtygroup.com.
All right, and so with a timeout right now, which I believe is an official timeout, so it looks like they're just trying to regroup for a second, make sure that everything is, correct. Mm-hmm. Maybe they were just as confused by that last jam as we were.
I have little doubt that they are just confirming that all penalties were correctly assigned. We saw that official timeout during half one where it was the same thing, just kind of like, whoa, what's happening in this jam? What we want to make sure everyone that earned a penalty got a penalty. And as likewise, as you said, anybody who maybe got a penalty that didn't earn it, make sure they don't keep it.
All right, and I will do a shout out real quick as well. So Just Coffee has roasted 100% organic fair trade coffee here in Madison for 15 years. They are proud to continue their long partnership with the Dolls. All right, and so we are coming into this next jam with One Hit Wanda for Unholy Rollers going up against Ice Pick with the Quad Squad, and Wanda jumps out to lead jammer very quickly. However, Ice Pick also threw the pack. And so it looks like they've picked up their pace a little bit, and both teams are quickly moving through around the track. Oh my goodness, Quad Squad basically trying to prevent One Hit Wanda from even getting up to the line, and she passes 1 or 2 before calling off that jam.
Looks like I can't see it. Okay, there are only 2 fingers on that ref's hand.
Okay.
So that was 2 points for the Unholy Rollers on that one pass. Really quite the valiant effort there by Wanda. Just he was like, oh, you're going to try to keep me from getting points? No, I'm just going to like turn and just like throw myself through you.
Yes. Oh my goodness, these last 2 jams have been very exciting.
This has been a very exciting game so far. Even like we have a not insignificant score difference between these 2 teams, but they're still just playing so well. And I still believe in the quad squad here. And here we go, upset, getting through to take lead jam. She's going to be jamming against Toast for the Unholy Rollers.
Yes.
Looks like the quad squad blockers may have her number at the front of the pack, but she's really whittling away at the defense.
And in the meantime, while we have Toast still trying to break through the quad squad, Upset has already made her lap around the track, picked up 5 points as she tries to pick up an additional more points. It looks like, okay, so she actually got knocked out of bounds, and she's being run back by the pivot for the Unholy Rollers. And I wasn't sure, do we have a penalty in there somewhere? No.
I believe the Unholy Rollers lost their blocker, Polly Avarice, to the box on a track cut penalty. She is currently in the box serving for a track cut penalty. Whether or not that was the penalty we just saw. Oh my, though, and Chick Boom for the quad squad is in the penalty box for a skating out of bounds penalty, and that was actually her 6th.
Oh.
So Chick Boom only has, like, she can't get any more penalties if she wants to keep skating tonight.
That's true. And with this half just starting, that's a lot of time. We'll see if the Unholy Rollers use that to their advantage to try and, like you had mentioned, bait her into getting her final penalty.
Right, and it's an unfortunate situation for the quad squad because Chick Boom is not only a really strong jammer or a really strong blocker, but she's also quite a skilled jammer, so a useful person to put in as the pivot for a possible star pass. But if she gets a single more penalty, then you lose her for the rest of the game. So it's something you have to be careful with.
That is, her name is definitely one that we have repeated several times tonight.
Wow, taking a look at the score from that last jam, 20 points up for the quad squad, holding the Unholies to 0. Exactly the kind of jam that they need to bring themselves back into this game.
That's right. And so we have the trickster for the quad squad right now trying to get through those Unholy Rollers blockers. Then we have Shenanigans for the Unholy Rollers. Both jammers right now aggressively trying to get through the pack. Shenanigans has been successful in that. She is lead jammer with Trickster hot off her wheels. Hot on her wheels, I should say. Hot on her wheels.
So quad squad trying to get together up at the front of the pack with the Unholy Rollers trying to come around to the Smiler there and isolate her from the rest of the pack, preventing her from getting in there and doing some defense.
That's right. And speaking of defense, as we start this next jam, so Hello Sailor had actually picked up a penalty. She will be in the box to start this one. And it looks like Unholy Rollers only were able to pick up 1 point in that last jam.
They're going to definitely be looking for a few more in this one, but that's a good jam for the quad squad.
So, and as we had talked about in the half, I believe they were down by 53 points, and they have narrowed that to 33. So they definitely have picked up some points this half to narrow the score.
Going to see Ginger Snap jamming for the Unholy Rollers, getting through to take lead jam. She's jamming against Ice Pick for the quad squad.
And we have, I believe that was Quillo DeVille heading to the penalty box just now. That will be, I believe, her 6th, possibly 5th.
That will be her 6th penalty. So it looks like that was a forearm penalty. So now quad squad with 2 of their blockers sitting at 6 penalties with 22 minutes remaining to play. Rough spot to be in. Looking back down to the action of the track, you've got the Unholies trying to hold a position up at the front, but now the quad squad breaking out and taking the front.
And it looks like we may even have a jammer change for the quad squad. I believe their pivot, the Bedazzler, I want to say, she currently has, no, who is? Oh, I'm so sorry. The pivot is Murderface, and she does have that helmet cover that indicates that she would be lead jammer. She has yet to put it on, however.
Yeah, So the Unholies are clearly well aware. They're like, nope, the one with the stripe has the star. Hit the stripe. So they are focusing all of their defensive efforts on her. And in the meantime, allowing Ginger Snap to get through after a minute and a half, finally just now completing her first scoring pass. And likewise, now Murderface through the pack has donned the Jammer Star, activating her Jammer powers. She's now eligible to score points. But we'll see if Ginger Snap is going to let this jam continue going. She is.
She is, yes. She absolutely got through. She picked up additional points. She has 8 already on this jam. Meanwhile, Murderface trying to get through those Unholy Roller blockers. And we have Ginger Snap coming up, calling off that jam now.
We'd like to thank you for watching the Mad Rollin Dolls. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, and we are back in for this next jam between the Unholy Rollers and the Quad Squad. Unholy Rollers currently lead 126 to 89.
Unholy Roller fans, how do you feel about the Quad Squad being down?
So we do have 20 minutes remaining in this game to play. We're going to see One Hit Wanda up on the line for wearing the star for the Unholy Rollers up against Upset for the Quad Squad. Upset gets through first, takes lead jam for the Quad Squad.
And hopefully she'll be able to cover some extra ground right now, being the lead jammer. The score currently sits at 126 for Unholy Rollers, 89 for the Quad Squad, and it looks like the Unholy Rollers are going to be sending one of their jammer to the penalty box.
Yeah, that's going to be a back block penalty assessed against One Hit Wanda. This will be a power jam for Upset in the Quad Squad, exactly what they need here.
Yes, and we'll see how they turn it to their advantage. Again, she was able to get through the pack, picking up additional points. This might actually be exactly what the Quad Squad needs. Gaining additional momentum to try and eliminate some of the lead the Unholy Rollers have historically had throughout this bout so far.
Well,
And
Upset just juking back and forth by this defense, keeping them moving with just the occasional sprinkling of offense from the Quad Squad blockers are just doing them wonders. One Hit Wanda is now back on the track for the Unholy Rollers. Upset's going to call the jam. That was a 15-point jam for the Quad Squad, holding the Unholies to 0. That'll bring the Quad Squad over the century mark. We've now got just about, let's see if my announcer math can manage this, 22 points separating these two teams.
Wow, and they are, I mean, yeah, this half, again, they have come out this half, and really, it's like a different team right now.
Well, and you can see the score here, because at the half, Upset had 25 points, and now she's up at 54. Like, okay, she's had a few good jams this half.
She was clearly upset. She was upset about the first half. All right, and so now going into this next jam, we have Toast for the Unholy Rollers trying to get the lead jammer. She is going up against the Trickster. She is the lead jammer, Toast is.
Yeah, Trickster is out of the pack, putting on the pressure, but both of these jammers quite quick coming around the around turns 1 and 2 there.
That's right. All right, and we'll see Toast gets past a couple blockers, calls off the jam before she could allow Trickster to get any points. And let's see, picking up 4 points on that last jam.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Jim's Coins. Jim's Coins in Hilldale. Cash in today. Coins, jewelry, and more. Jim's Coins in Hilldale. Jim's Coins in Hilldale. Jim's Coins in Hilldale.
Very nice. You are a great singer, Rich.
Oh, why thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And very catchy tune as well.
Yeah, that's quite the jingle. Oh, wow, nice moves there by Ice Pick. Oh, apparently not quite nice enough. I believe that was, I thought, oh yeah, she did get a track cut. It looked like she had that open lane where she just danced on her toe stops on the inside. It was not clean, though. That was a track cut for her. So power jam for the Unholy Rollers and Shenanigans. Kill Switch, the blocker for the Quad Squad, also to the box.
All right, and Shenanigans just getting through past those Quad Squad blockers. They definitely were doing their best to kind of, you know, keep it defensive, keep it tight. But she, boy, I tell you, guns out, and that's how she rolls.
Oh yeah, guns just rolls out hard.
Yes.
And
again, just go. Yes, she's definitely taking advantage of the, of Ice Pick sitting in the box. She's picking up all these extra points for Unholy Rollers. So just when the quad squad is narrowing the gap and picking up all these points, Unholy Rollers is saying, nope, not yet.
So we do have a star pass happening on the track. Ice Pick passed her star over to the pivot Jaws. Just as she was getting that star on, the jam was called, though. So that was a grand total of 13 points for the Unholy Rollers. Another very strong jam for them, holding the quad squad scoreless. Take a look here at the instant replay. Shenanigans coming around the outside, and just for that split second, the quad squad blocker thinks like, oh, Kill Switch thinks, oh, is that where she is? But no, she jukes in. So Shenanigans a very jukey jammer. Getting into this next jam, upset through to take a quick lead jam for the quad squad up against Ginger Snap for the Unholy Rollers.
Uh-oh, and Ginger Snap, just as we saw Ginger Snap trying to break through, and then, of course, she was stopped by the Bedazzler. She got a cutting track penalty, a cut track, so she is going to be in the penalty box, as is another teammate of hers, Hello Sailor. So the Unholy Rollers will be down 2, and Upset taking full advantage, already picking up 10 points. And here she comes. She's telling her team, go, 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 go ahead. She's going to barrels right through the Unholy Roller pack of defenders.
That tripod had nothing to stop Upset. She just crashed right through it, and just like it was tissue paper.
And it looks like Ginger Snap taking a couple pointers while she was sitting out that timeout, watching how Upset did it, getting up and saying, I'm going to do the same thing. So here she is trying to go up against the defenders, not having the luck that Upset did, but still pushing her way and trying to get through.
Because while you can brace against your buddies with your arms, you cannot use your arms to stop an opposing jammer. So all they have, like when a jammer sees those linked arms, it's like, ooh boy, that's a target.
Oh, yes.
Because they either need to bring their bodies together quick or drop their arms. And if they drop their arms, well, that's a hole for you.
Yes, that's so true. All right, and so what we saw in that last jam was the quad squad picked up 19 points. They are now 20 points shy of the Unholy Rollers. And I tell you, I mean, a difference a half can make. Anything can happen.
And here we see there's Upset, formerly known as Dark Horse, just ripping through that pack before they had a chance to seam up. Getting into this next jam, Seraphire jams for the quad squad in green, one-hit Wanda for the Unholy Rollers in red.
All right, and as they turn the second turn almost, it looks like both teams still great defense across the board. Neither one has been called the lead. I take that back. We just saw one-hit Wanda. Wow, doing some fancy skate work. She is your lead jammer. And it looks like there was a star pass on the quad squad.
I believe that was just a star stat. Yep, I still see the pivot cover
right
out there, so Jaws is out there still pivoting it up for the quad squad. So Seraphire, it's a pretty solid strategy once the opposing jammer has gotten lead to just remove that star to create that confusion. Like, am I going to pass it or am I just going to hold on to it?
It definitely confused me. So see, it's been working. It's working, clearly.
So thank you for joining us here at the Mad Rollin' Dolls. We will be back in just a moment. All right, we are back into the action here. Rich Mahogany joined alongside Seasons Beatings. We've got the game between the Unholy Rollers and the Quad Squad happening right now. 145 is the score of the Unholy Rollers to the 123 of the Quad Squad. We've got 12 minutes and 20 seconds remaining to play.
And with both teams trying to get their first win tonight, Unholy Rollers playing pretty aggressively. We see Toast in this jam. She is your lead jammer. And so far, the Unholy Rollers have been able successfully preventing Ice Pick from getting through the pack. Ice Pick did take the, she took the, it's back on again. It doesn't, again, part of their tactic. Yeah, the star. She took the star off briefly. Was she going to pass it? Nope, she retained it. And then we have Toast calling off that jam. How many points did they pick up? 5, holding the quad squad to 0 points. So every time the quad squad kind of gets a little bit of movement, gets a little bit of momentum, Unholy Rollers, they seem to be able to just kind of nix that, prevent that, stop it the next couple, jams, kind of like not going to happen.
And you can see here the stats that were up there on the screen. upset has just continues to increase her scoring. But she's also really the only jammer on the quad squad who's been able to reliably get lead jam when she goes out there. So she is out jamming here. So once again, picking up lead jam for the quad squad. She's jamming against Shenanigans for the Unholy Rollers, a matchup we have seen several times so far this evening.
And it has been, I would say, equally distributed between the jammers. Although Upset, again, she has been definitely taking that lead jammer status. But boy, when Shenanigans is lead jammer, she is outguns about it. So.
That is, so looks like the jam will be called. There are only 2 points picked up for the quad squad, but holds Unholy Rollers down to 0.
All right, and so we will do another shout out to the Chocolate Shop Ice Cream for any 100-point win, which we have currently happening right, well, we did,
No.
we almost had a 100-point with 53.
It was getting there, but the quad squad really closed this gap up.
Well, you know what? There's 10 minutes left on Unholy Rollers. Maybe they can score another 50 or 75, put them up 100 points. If that happens, free Chocolate Shop ice cream. If any team wins by more than 100 points tonight, you can bring your wristband to any Chocolate Shop ice cream location and receive a free single scoop. Now, those of you at home clearly wouldn't have a wristband, but if you'd like one, just come and watch it live.
Yeah, we'd love to have you at our next home bout on March 3rd here at the Alliant Energy Center. Getting back down to the action on the track, Ginger Snap jamming for the Unholy Rollers. She is out in the front taking the lead. She is jamming against the Trickster for the quad squad.
And that was a very quick jam. As soon as she was able to pass one of the blockers picking up a point, she did call off the jam, again holding the quad squad to 0. But it is now just a 26-point game.
And things are definitely getting down to the wire here as we have less than 10 minutes left to play. So one thing of note as we were talking about the jammers and the jammer rotation for the quad squad is they are missing one of their jammers. They're missing Spam, formerly known as Hammer Abby before they were turned evil. Hammer Abby is over in the UK announcing the Roller Derby World Cup as we speak. So while she is well missed here on the track, we wish her all the best of luck out there in her announcing endeavors.
And what a fantastic opportunity. I can't imagine. All right, so it looks like we did have, well, thankfully no injuries, although someone did take a spill. A couple more are down, and we do have the lead jammer, who is, for the quad squad, she just went to the penalty box. It was Seraphire, and she was the jammer.
So
definitely some action on that last jam.
Yeah, there was some sort of content, like I saw a ref go down. So here we see on the instant replay. There we go.
Oh, that's.
So as things zip back, so Seraphire knocked to the outside, a ref taken out, Rue Barbarian in the mix. So Seraphire is in the game or in the box for an out of play penalty.
That's correct, because with these refs, they're basically untouchable. I mean, you really, and of course that was an accident, but you can't touch a ref.
So Toast is now taking lead jam for the Unholy Rollers.
That's right, and she will probably take advantage. Well, we have one of the blockers coming in off of the penalty box for the quad squad, but their lead jammer against their Seraphire, she is still in the penalty box. I spoke too soon, and she is back out on the track. So now both teams at full strength.
That's right. We've got 5-on-5 on the flat track. Got 3 blockers for the quad squad now. One of them breaking off to, that's Chick Chick Boom.
Chick Chick Boom
breaking
out there.
off to bridge.
That's right. So that, and again, they have to bridge so that there is a no pack penalty. Both teams, there is still no lead jammer that I'm aware of. Both teams very defensive, trying to keep the jammers from getting through. We still don't have a lead jammer.
So believe Toast was the lead jammer?
That's right. You know why? Because Seraphire was in the penalty box at the beginning.
Right. So she did pick up 5. So Toast picks up 5 points on that last jam, holding the quad squad down to 0. So we are now at 159 to 125. We've got 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining to play. The game certainly not out of reach for the quad squad, but they're going to have to start getting a few more reliable lead jams. So we see again the jammer status here that has now gone off the screen. We've got the Trickster jamming against the quad squad. are jamming for the quad squad. Shenanigans jamming for the Unholy Rollers.
And we do have Quilla DeVille on track for the quad squad. And again, she is at 6 penalties, so she is definitely playing cautiously and carefully. If she picks up one more penalty, she will no longer be in the game.
Yeah, Quill definitely a great force out on the track. You can see her out there bridging or bracing that tripod as she's trying to communicate with the other quad squad blockers where Shenanigans is and what they need to do to make sure they keep her back. And something they're doing to great effect right now. Shenanigans staring down Quill, Jaws, and Poison Dart.
And actually, there was a little bit of a shakeup as Jaws, who was the pivot, is now going to be the jammer for the quad squad. There was a star pass.
So you have been watching the Mad Rollin' Dolls. We will be right back for the conclusion of this game. Thank you for joining us. We are here at the final minutes of the quad squad taking on the Unholy Rollers. Unholy Rollers currently leading by 29 points, assuming my announcer math is correct. So we've got 159 to 125. 5 minutes remain. Going to see Ice Pick wearing the star to start this jam for the quad squad, going up against Jinja Snap for the Unholy Rollers. Jinja up through the inside, going to take lead jam for the Unholies.
Yes, and actually, interesting note, so the Unholy Rollers have had the lead since the second jam of this bout. They have not given up the lead since then. Quad Squad started out strong, and then Unholy Rollers just took off after that. And Ginger Snap picking up some extra points, definitely fighting her way through the Quad Squad's defenders, and she was able to get through again, picking up more points. She is hot on the wheels of Ice Pick for the Quad Squad. Decides to call up that jam after picking up 10 points, holding the Quad Squad to 0 on that jam.
Take a moment here to thank our sponsor, Cooper's Tavern, craft beer, rustic food on the square. We would also like to thank our sponsor, Super Duper. We offer digital offset letterpress and hand silk screen printing, and we specialize in CD and DVD packaging and manufacturing. Super Duper.
And so a little bit of the trend for the last couple jams, Unholy Rollers, even though Quad Squad had been narrowing the point gap, they're now up by 39 with under 4 minutes to play. So apparently the Quad Squad unfazed them enough that they have definitely picked it up a little bit, and they're playing to win right now.
An upset will get through to take lead jam for the Quad Squad. She's jamming against One Hit Wanda, who's dealing with that tri-brace for the Quad Squad, the Bedazzler, Kill Switch, and Conan the Mean Librarian. Chick Boom is also up in the mix.
All right, and as we saw, Upset was able to get through, pick up her 4 points, holding the Unholy Rollers to 0 in that jam. It's 169 to 129, and we have 3 minutes left to play.
Yeah, definitely, like the Unholy Rollers looking more and more like they'll be able to hold their position here and take this first win of the season. However, still plenty of time left for the Quad Squad to pull something out.
That's true. Never say never.
Trickster is going to go to the line for the Quad Squad, going up against Toast for the Unholy Rollers.
And Toast trying to get through some of the quad defenders. She's definitely running into some problems with Quilla DeVille, Poison Dart, and the Smiler. Not to mention the Bedazzler, who is pivot right now for the Quad Squad. On the other side, the Trickster having her own issues trying to get through the Unholy Rollers pack. And I spoke too soon. So the Bedazzler had been sitting out for the penalty. She is now back in, and we have the Trickster as lead jammer.
That's right, we have Toast not quite having completed her initial pass yet. She has removed the star. See if she's going to try passing it over to the pivot Tango de Muerte, but Tango not really in an advantageous position. You usually don't want to pass the star if you're passing to somebody who is still behind blockers. And so you see at the front here, Quilla DeVille, and I believe that is the Smiler that she's with there.
Yeah, I think they were trying to take one of the Quad Squad's tricks that they've been playing a couple times tonight, create some confusion, but so far it's not working in their benefit. Meanwhile, the Trickster was able to break through, and she is going to go ahead and lap, picked up 5 points. And she is trying to get through. She was knocked out of bounds and then decided to call it off. She picked up 7 points. The Unholy Rollers scoreless in that jam.
All right, so we do have a team timeout being called for by the quad squad. We'll take a look here at this instant replay of the Trickster running up the outside line. Hellfire War trying to catch her, but having to let her go at the last minute. She gets outside of that zone of engagement.
That's right. And so we will quickly just do a shout out to one of our sponsors, the Super Duper. They offer digital, offset, letterpress, and hand silkscreen printing, specializing in CD and DVD packaging and manufacturing.
We would also like to thank Yvonne Al-Yassiri for sponsoring the Mad Rollin' Dolls. Yvonne is a psychotherapist and clinical social worker providing mental health and counseling services for individuals, couples, and families in the Dane County area. She specializes in providing gender identity counseling as well as providing sex therapy for individuals and couples and general mental health counseling services for teens and adults. More information and for more information and to schedule for a free phone intake appointment, visit Yvonne's website at YvonneAlyassiri.com, spelled JAVONALYASIRI.com, and see her ad in today's Mad Rollin' Dolls program, or visit MadRollinDolls.com and check out About Then Sponsors.
That's right. And with the timeout being over, we have a little less than a minute and a half to play here. Unholy Rollers sitting at 169. Quad Squad has 136 points. May have a couple jams left in this half, and we will see what happens.
You see Alligator and the Rhubarbarian kind of jockeying for position. Upset will get through to take lead jam in what may well be this last jam of the contest. We have 41 seconds remaining on the period clock. Once that expires, we are out of time to have another jam.
Right, and just as she was about to, so as Upset was coming around the first turn, Shenanigans waited for her, tried to bump her a little bit. Looks like she lost a little bit of footing, regained it, and so she has already made another pass around the track, picking up 5. Shenanigans, in the meantime, making her way around. She is also trying to pick up some of those points, although, you know, they still maintain a pretty healthy lead.
Shenanigans signaling to her blockers to get in, play some offense, and break up that green wall. She will not quite get through. She's knocked to the outside.
Well, and interestingly enough, too, as we watch as they come up to the third turn, we saw the pivot for Unholy Rollers side by side with Upset. So I'm just trying to figure out, what are the Unholy Rollers? What do they have up their sleeve right now that they're trying to do? And it looks like there are 2 penalties, 2 Unholy Roller blockers going to the penalty box.
And we only have 20 seconds remaining on the period clock, so one way or another, this game will come to its conclusion shortly.
All
Upset
right.
forced to the outside by
Grr.
Now we have some jammer on jammer defense being played here as Shenanigans waits for Upset. But Upset is going to get through the pack for one last pass. So that will bring us to the end. That's a 14-point jam for the Quad Squad, and Upset can see here this last moment as she leaps the apex, just barely dodges the hit from Gertrude Awakening. So while that will bring them much closer, the score is 150 Quad Squad, but the Unholy Rollers walking away with the win, the first of the season for them at 173.
And boy, I tell you, that last jam, that was pretty exciting for the Quad Squad, picking up the 14 points. There was a couple high-scoring jams that they had, but it just wasn't enough at the end.
Yeah, a wonderful game played by both teams, but the Unholy Rollers defense just absolutely working it all game long. The Quad Squad started figuring out how to get around it, but too little too late. So close to a win, but the Unholy Rollers coming out on top.
That's right. And it looks like our lead scorer for the Unholy Rollers was Ginger Snap with 67 points. And right behind her was Shenanigans, picking up 43.
And we see here, Upset ended up being the top scoring jammer of the entire game, picking up 103 of the Quad Squad's 150 points. Such an amazing game. I had such a great time announcing it. Hope you all had a great time watching it. But that will about do it for us on this first game. I have been Rich Mahogany.
And I am Seasons Beatings.
Thank you all very much for joining us here at the Mad Rollin' Dolls. We'll see you again soon. Hello and welcome. I am Rich Mahogany here for the Mad Rollin' Dolls after our Season 14 Game 2 where we saw the Unholy Rollers take on the Quad Squad. Unholy Rollers coming out on top 173 to 150.
Yeah. So
I am here with Ginger Snap. Ginger, how do you feel about that game?
I feel great. I mean, it was certainly hard fought. Quad Squad is always a very tough opponent. It's certainly tough going into a game knowing that you're facing the champs from the last 2 years.
Well, you all looked fantastic out there. Particularly, we thought that your defense just looked incredible. You were so with it all the time. You just seemed to always know where they need to be. What did you guys do to prepare for this game defensively?
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, our D looked great. Our butts were just together all over the track. We've really been working a lot on just staying together, staying with our friends, and keeping the pace slow. So that was something that at the beginning, things were starting to move a little fast, but we refocused and started to slow down and really play our game.
Well, it was your game all the way. It was so much fun to watch. One last thing, what did you guys do specifically to prepare for today?
We ate tacos last night, so that is always key to our success. But other than that, we really just focused on having fun. You know, that's what we're here for, and it's hard, but we love it.
Well, that's great. You guys, the fun showed, and it was so much fun watching and calling that game for you. Also, always a pleasure to have Jack Skellington out here representing for the Unholy Rollers. So, Ginger, thank you once again for joining us, and thank you for watching. This has been Rich Mahogany for the Mad Rollin' Dolls.